Everyone's Charles Harris here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out Kneecap Body by Jeremy Smokin.
Okay, and welcome to Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy B. How's everybody doing tonight? Oh, we got Mitchell Sledge in the house. Welcome in, Mitchell.
Hello.
Right on time. I just did the intro.
Wow. Lucky as that.
Yeah. So my buddy Dom will be joining us shortly. He's a Lions fan as well. But let's get into it. Deshaun Watson received a 6-game suspension from a former judge. Goodell and the NFL are already appealing. Agree or disagree with their decision to appeal it?
I agree. I thought it was too light of a suspension. I thought it should have been gone for the rest of the season.
Yeah, everybody says, well, he sat out last season. I said, no, he was put on the inactive list, which means he received half of his salary.
He still got paid for it, so.
Right, he still got paid. A suspension means no money, no nothing. So, that being said, I'm in agreement with you. I agree that something should be done about it. Man, nobody's watching. That being said, I think it's the right move. I think he deserves a minimum of 10 games up to a year. A minimum.
Yeah, I think it's the right move in a lot of areas. I thought it was too late, and I'm actually glad that it's appealed. Hopefully it goes into most of the season. As a Texans fan, I can't stand him.
Well,
back on the organization.
What I can say is when he was there and he was playing for you, he was the reason you won a lot of games.
That is true. But he also turned the back on the Texans.
Right, because he asked to be traded last year. Then all this stuff came out. That's why they sat him, and we get it. And my dad pops in and says, what's up, guys? Oh, we're talking about Deshaun Watson's light suspension and how Goodell and the NFL is already appealing it, and I approve. Oh, that being said, let's get on to the next one. And in new news that came out just this morning, Hollywood Brown was arrested for criminal speeding on Wednesday morning in Arizona. Criminal speeding is anything more than 65 miles an hour over the speed limit.
Wow.
That's when reckless driving, all that stuff comes in, all that stuff.
So he was flying. Wow.
He was pulling a Henry Ruggs.
At least he wasn't drunk.
And he didn't get in a wreck. So there's that. So what do you think about that?
I think it's reckless. I think it's dumb. Like, honestly, the most I do is 10 miles per hour above the speed limit. And that's the most.
I'm usually about 5. That's my tops. But I'm older.
I'm younger, but I've been in one accident my entire driving record. 0 tickets. So.
Hey, that's a plus. And then and of course out in San Francisco, Debo got his deal, the 3-year, $72 million with what was that, $58 million guaranteed? Something like that.
Honestly, I think he's worth it. Highly underrated.
I didn't say he wasn't worth it.
Highly underrated player.
Ben Smith comes in and said, what's up, fellas? I said, well, Ben, you missed out. We already talked about the Deshaun Watson suspension, how the NFL is appealing it, and I agree it should be done. What's your opinion? Actually, we both agreed that it needed to be heavier, period.
That is... Sorry, my Wi-Fi dropped for a second.
Oh, it didn't even fade out.
Stop it.
Debo gets the deal. Man, it's going to be a short show if it's just a couple of us. Oh, let's see. So with the last CBA, the Players Union got the NFL to agree to a weaker off-season workout schedule, which now 2 years in Injuries have tripled across this league. Should they renegotiate it?
Honestly, I don't think they should. I think it's worked out pretty well.
I'd say it across the league, not any one team. Injuries have tripled. Soft tissue injuries is almost all of it. Non-contact stuff, the whole 9 yards. Oh. And my dad comes in and says, personally, I think he should be banned from playing, talking about Watson. And Richard Head comes in and says, sup, guys? First one I've seen live in a few weeks. I know I've been missing you, bud. I've been looking for your input. Don't read that the wrong way, Sledge. And Stephen King says, what's up, guys? I didn't hear about Hollywood Brown. I'm with you, Jeremy, about 5 miles over when I'm driving in the States, which is approximately, what is that? Let's see, at 0.8 per mile. About 8 kilometers over the speed limit, I believe, in Canada. And he says it will be interesting to see what happens with Watson. You know, Goodell's pushing for the year. And I think he should.
I would push for a year, honestly. He doesn't deserve to play this season.
You say that, but Big Ben was never convicted. It never went to trial. It was just an accusation, and he got 6 games for one person making an accusation.
One
person.
Wow.
And the charges were dropped. It never went to trial. And he got 6 games for one person. This is 24 people. Where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, if you do the math, 24 times 6, that's practically a lifetime ban from the NFL.
I'm just glad he's the Browns' problem, honestly.
And Stephen King says your calculation is about right, but 10 kilometers over is the magic number in Canada. All right, good to know. So what do you guys think about that last CBA? The players union got the NFL to agree to the weaker off-season workouts. And I'm not even talking about the camps. I'm talking about the mini camps and the OTAs. There was no two-a-days. There's no conditioning. The conditioning is a lot less than what it was. So with that being said, should they renegotiate that in the next CBA? Because I think it's a big reason why a lot of people are getting soft tissue injuries. There's more of them every year. It's not any one team. Look at what happened to the Ravens, the Titans. Hell, the Texans even had a few more soft tissue injuries last season.
Could be that. It also could just be a coincidence. I mean, but injuries did go up, and they did rise after they did that.
Yeah,
Titans
I mean,
had a ridiculous amount of injuries.
23 was on their injured reserve.
Wow. I didn't know that number. That's intriguing. That's a lot.
And my dad says when I was coaching youth football, one of the coaches was a Flint cop, and he told me unless you are doing something else wrong, most cops won't stop you at even 7 miles an hour. Over.
I went on a road trip, and I was going over 10 miles per hour, and there was a cop down a hill, did nothing.
Right.
He must have been really looking for somebody speeding.
And the worst thing you can do in front of them is hit your brakes.
I just acted like everything was normal.
Yep, that's all you do. Just drive right on by. I always heard 11 plus 8. Heard. That being said, My last subject is what the hell is going on in Chicago? So far, Rokon wants a new deal or traded. Robert Quinn wants to be traded. And now Tevin Jenkins, their second round pick from last year, wants to be traded out of Chicago. What's going on down there?
It's just misery. Honestly, like coaches switching, things changing. Rokon Swift is a beast, but honestly, quite honestly, I don't blame him for trying to get a deal while the iron's hot. Because you never know. You could go out the following season, and next thing you know, your deal is almost nothing.
I agree, Richard Head. They should have more practices. They should go back to playing real football again, too. Chicago is the worst team in the NFL. I think he meant the NFL, not just the NFC North.
Could make that argument. The Texans.
Look at this. I was doing 7 under the speed limit when a state trooper pulled me over.
That's really bad luck.
And Richard Head says, I'll tell you what's going on. Okay. In Chicago, it's the Bears. Facts. That's pretty much all my topics in 12 minutes. This is crazy. I've never had this short of a podcast. I was also expecting more people. And Stephen King says a shit show in Chicago. That being said, we're hearing some good things about Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Shark, Jared Goff. I mean, a lot of stuff has gone well. The bad thing is, oh, there we go. Green Bay wide receiver core equals hot garbage coming into talk tonight. What's up, Dom?
What's up?
Facebook user says, how's it going, Smokin Jeremy? So far, it's looking very good, and the defense is further ahead of schedule than everybody thought it would be, but the first string offense is the explosive part of the team. And I don't think anybody expected any different. Crazy Ken comes in and says, what's up, Dom?
Hey, Crazy Ken.
I'll go over each question, and you can give your answers. Deshaun Watson received a 6-game suspension from a former judge. Goodell in the NFL is already appealing. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, to start with, like based upon him only getting 6 games, I understand why he agreed, why him and, his lawyers and the NFLPA agreed to not appeal it. As far as the NFL appealing the decision, I understand it. I don't know that I agree with it. It's a lot to unpack. Based upon the allegations, I think 6 is a little bit light, but he hasn't been convicted of a crime.
Okay. Big Ben got 6 games for an allegation that never even went in front of a grand jury, and the charges were dropped. There was no record of any civil suit or anything, and he got 6 games for that. That being said, he got 6 games. He got 6 games. It was 6.
Okay.
Maybe it was appealed down to 4, but the
maybe that's
the initial suspension was 6 games. So that being said, if you multiply that by 24, it'd be a lifetime ban.
Right. Well, the thing is, like I said earlier in the chat, I still think there's at least a chance that Deshaun Watson never plays another down in the NFL. I know that the league was looking for a year-long suspension, so I can see that they're underwhelmed with the idea of 6. My guess is they get together and agree upon 10 or 12.
I think I said a minimum of 10 games is what they're probably going to go with.
Right. I also think that Watson and his team, they seem to think that what happened in Houston last year and him they want to be like, oh, we already sat out a whole year. That had nothing directly to do with these allegations.
Right. And he was still paid the guaranteed part of his salary while he was on the inactive list. So there's a key point there. A suspension is unpaid.
Right.
John Robinson comes in and says, good evening, Smoking Jay. James Burgess says the Watson thing exemplifies the new deal between the NFL and the NFLPA. Neither has to take responsibility. It's probably the best way to go. And yes, Ben did appeal it to down to 4. And James
I mean, honestly,
Burgess says it should be a year.
I expected it to be a higher or a lengthier suspension handed out initially, something like 10 to 12 games, and then maybe he would appeal it down. But then when he agreed to not, I'm like, oh, well, it looks like he's probably only going to get like 6 games. My thing is, and this goes back to the off season, like anyone in Browns Nation that's pissed off about this, like, I don't think that was a particularly good move for your franchise to start with, based upon all the issues that Baker had with the media. And honestly, all that aside, why would you give up all of those assets, let alone give him that huge contract? You don't even need Deshaun Watson. You are a run-first team. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And the other thing that I wonder about is Deshaun Watson never saw, not once did I ever hear about him seeing what I would call an actual NFL quality pocket in Houston. I wonder if he even would know what to do if he sat back there in a pocket that develops, or maybe he's just one of those guys that's better, moving around. Like, I don't see him as being a tremendous pocket passer. Incredibly talented guy, and
excellent arm talent.
And he's a good athlete, but he's had quite a few injuries already behind that terrible. What was the one that he had where he couldn't fly, collapsed lung, right?
Yep. Where he couldn't finish the season.
Mm-hmm.
That offensive line, though, made him move outside the pocket. That offensive
line, because that offensive line was atrocious.
He didn't have a choice. He could stay in the pocket. If he stayed, he got sacked.
Right, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. And he still took a ton of sacks.
Oh, yeah, he was...
like 60 plus one year, did he not?
I think it got up to 59. He broke David Carr's record for being sacked in Houston that year. And he was always 2 to 10 sacks above, as bad as the Lions O-line was, what Stafford got sacked every year.
Yep.
Next subject for you, though, is Hollywood Brown was arrested for criminal speeding this morning out in Arizona.
Okay, a few things about this as well. For one, apparently if you're really fast, in cleats and on the football field, you like to speed in a car. Looking at you, Henry Ruggs. For two, and this comes from personal experience. I've been pulled over and ticketed for going 35 miles over the speed limit on the freeway. I didn't even get a reckless driving. I just got a 106 into 70. How fast would he have had to have been going to where they pulled him over and arrested him? And they haven't said anything. It's early in the game, but was he under the influence?
We don't know that, but he didn't get in the wreck. He didn't pull a full Henry Ruggs, but I believe, if I remember right, criminal speeding is above reckless driving, and that would make it around 60 to 65 miles per hour.
Right. So if he was, let's say he's on a freeway where the limit's 70, so he was doing at least about
120, 130.
120.
Yeah.
Killer
Cook comes in and says, JB, how you doing there, Brendan? Good to see you again. And Facebook user, Browns got Watson because they want an elite QB. Obviously, you disagree that he's elite, but in the NFL community, he's elite. Baker is far from elite. He's average at best.
I don't disagree that he's elite.
I didn't say he wasn't elite. He has a great elite arm talent, 100%. Able to move the pocket, find guys that are open. Nowhere did he say he wasn't elite.
The last time he played, I would have probably put him in the top 5.
Yep. There it is.
Tremendously talented.
Killer Cook says criminal speeding is you have to be going over 100 miles per hour.
Oh, so he was really cruising, probably in his fancy car.
Right.
I don't. I made a post about this the other day because I have a good friend that lives in the city, so I see a lot of Dodge Chargers on the freeway and on the side streets just going ridiculously fast. And it's like I said, I have a fast car too. What I don't have is a death wish.
Facts. Okay. And of course, out in San Francisco, Debo got the deal. He got his bag. 3 years, $72 million, 58.3 guaranteed. I think the cap hit was just a little over 30 million. So he's not the top paid wide receiver, but he's definitely in the top 4. I think he earned it. What do you think, Dom?
Wait. So he's. Tell me where does he rank as far as biggest contracts for wideouts? He's in the top 5.
He's in the top 5.
I would say he's probably earned it. I mean, I don't have any strong feelings about San Francisco one way or the other, but I like Debo. He's a good player, and I'd like to see him be in the league as long as possible. So for the sake of the longevity of his career, I hope his usage can go down. I know San Francisco has had a tremendous problem with injuries, period, the last few years, and especially with their running backs. Because it seems like when the O-line is healthy, literally whatever running back they throw back there, he averages 5 yards a carry. Last year it was Elijah Mitchell. 2 years ago, late in the year and into the playoffs, it was Raheem Mostert. That San Francisco O-line the last 4 or 5 years reminds me of the Denver O-line in the Terrell Davis and post-Terrell Davis area, where you could literally put any schlub back there and he would get 1,000 yards. I know this because the Lions went and got more than one of them. Olandis Gary, Tatum Bell.
It's a converter. It goes from That being said, Dan Dave Harris of Let's Talk Sports pops in and says, "Hi, my friend. Just stopping in to show some support. Good to see you, Dan. Hope you're feeling better." Facebook user asks, "What's the latest on training camp injuries?" Well, as of today, UDFA Corey Sutton that we signed from Appalachian State retired. That's the second UDFA we signed this offseason that's retired, which is kind of crazy to me. The other one is a CB that I can't remember his name, a cornerback. But
and the third Lion to retire prematurely in the last 3 months. Who was the other guy that retired? Pennicini.
Yep, Pennicini. But
that
Pennicini
bums me out. I like
it. Does bum. I liked him too, but when I heard why, I totally get it. And my dad says, "Times have certainly changed. I don't know if any of you remember Lance Renzel, but when the accusations came out in Minnesota, they just traded him and he kept on playing." Oh, that's probably going back into the late 60s, early 70s.
Lance Renzel. I don't know that I've ever heard that name, but now I want to know more.
But also, Quintus Cephas went down and had to be helped off the field with some sort of leg injury. It has not been announced what it is yet, so I'm hoping it's nothing major. And James Burgess says, "The old days of covering up the Raiders doing barroom beatdowns and no big deal are over, LOL. Richard Head asks, "Is Chris Carson officially done?" Yes, he officially retired due to his neck injury.
K9 retired early too.
K9 and Rashad Penny. That's the running back room in Seattle.
That could be a hell of a tandem.
It could be. Because
Rashad Penny finally started to figure it out last year. He's always been good. He
also figured it out against the non-tackling defense that was the Lions.
Yeah, in the fantasy playoffs, no less. Just to wrap up about Deshaun Watson, albeit the last time he played it was on a 4-12 team, but he led the league in passing yards, 70% completion percentage, 33 TDs, 7 picks.
Yep.
Yes, he was, Richard Head. Every single one of those running backs post Terrell Davis was overrated.
Yep.
Actually, I used to work with a guy that played college ball with Tatum Bell, and he said even then Tatum Bell thought he was a lot better than he was.
And Ken Ballrick says, "Yeah, that was the right time," and he played wide receiver for Minnesota then.
What was his last Lance? What was his last name?
Renzel.
Renzal.
Renzal, I believe he spelled it.
Yeah, because I'm not seeing anything under Z. I don't
Renzel.
I see nothing for either.
I've never heard of that person. Not even once.
Let's check.
But I was right. Late 60s, early 70s.
Before I was born.
With a T, Renzel.
Renzel, yep. That's what he was missing was the T.
65 to 74.
Wow, I nailed the time frame perfectly. I said late 60s, early 70s. That was it.
He was not ever a Lion.
No, he was with Minnesota, and they traded him.
Okay, now I see. Yeah, went to Dallas, 996. Wow, it's kind of like Golden Tate in Detroit. He was in Minnesota for 2 years, played 20 games with a total of 2 catches, then went to Dallas, 996 and 8 touchdowns, 54 for 1,009 and 6. Then the following year, wow,
Big drop
43
off.
catches 43 catches, 960 yards. So he led the league in yards per catch at 22.3 and the league in touchdowns with 12. That's like
Wow.
it's like Joe Fourier. 12
Yeah.
touchdowns on 43 catches.
Right. It was a Rentzel, Dad. Rentzel, right? Rentzel.
Yep. Lance was his middle name. Government name Thomas Lance Rentzel.
Yep. And James Burgess says the Hawks got a nice new rookie running back too. Yeah, K9, Kenneth Walker.
Mm-hmm. And until further notice, Rashad Penny can't stay healthy to save his life. So I expect. Plus, they've got Drew Lock. I mean, they're going to be so bad.
And Ken, he had Joey Heatherton at home to play with. Must have been an actress from the time.
You know what Kenneth Walker is probably going to be this year? He's going to be like Isaiah Crowell when the Browns were still terrible. So he'll have
shined.
He'll have like 70 yards in the first half on 8 carries, but then they'll be getting blown out. So he finishes the game with 11 carries for 79 yards.
So we've discussed this before, Dom, but I actually want to discuss it on the podcast. So at the last CBA, the Players Union got the NFL to agree to a weaker off-season workout schedule, which now 2 years in, injuries have tripled across the league. Should they renegotiate that?
It's tough. It's one of those things where they need to find the healthy medium of, how much isn't like they've scaled back everything. The preseason's shorter now. There's some starters that don't even play a snap in the preseason, but it's like it's a violent game. You have to, and even in the off season, you have to do things to keep your body in NFL shape. And what am I trying to say? Even if you're a Super Bowl participant, you play your last game in February. Teams that don't make the playoffs finish in late January. You can't You can't go 7 months doing the bare minimum as far as football type stuff, and expect to be up to speed when the next season starts. And it seems like, like you just said, the injuries having tripled. Look at all those injuries the Ravens suffered either in training camp, in the preseason, and at the beginning of the season. If the pared down off-season workout schedule is the reason to blame, I don't know. They have to figure it out.
Absolutely. I think they need to go back to the stronger 2-a-day practices in the off season and still leave the shorter preseason.
God. We practiced today, right?
Yep.
See what the heat index was?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was working in it.
Over 100. Yeah, it was pretty awful.
I'm used to that.
I'm always over 100. They put those they put the pads on the helmets now for practices. I think that might be the move for
Leonard Fournette coming into camp at 260 pounds is the equivalent of what Eddie Lacy did in year 3 at Green Bay.
Cheeseburger. That's kind of odd to me about Fournette, because he's a taller, he's got some muscle on him, but he's always been pretty lean.
Yep. And James Burgess says Leonard Fournette is probably on his way out. Well, yeah, he went in there looking like Eddie Lacy, and he might be running like him too, which means slower and not as fast, and which means When you're slower, when you're a powerful guy and you slow down, it becomes easier to get you because that means more people can get to you.
Where did I forgot that he wasn't even there anymore. Where did I'm gonna look right now. Oh, the Chiefs.
Well,
I
my
forgot.
connection
I
dropped.
forgot
had a
that Rojo wasn't a Buck anymore, and I think that has something to do with why Fournette was so lazy in the offseason because he's doesn't have to look over his shoulder at Ronald Jones, which strictly based upon their performances in Tampa, I thought Rojo was better than Fournette, but I swear to God, every single week it was the same thing with Ronald Jones. He would come in, he would look great for about 5 carries, then he would fumble and be in the doghouse for the rest of the game.
Yep. He was the Godwin Igwebuike of the Buccaneers. Richard Head said, yeah, millionaire athletes having to practice and they don't want to. Well, not all of them are millionaires, but they should be if they last the 3 years in the league, which is the average. Chase Burgess says, with this inflation, can Fournette continue his Hostess Twinkie habit?
I want to see something now. Like,
and Ken Balrick's reply to John Robinson. I had forgot about him being with Joey Heatherton. She was one hot lady. Yeah, I was right. Actress from back then or model.
according to Pro Football Reference, Leonard Fournette's playing weight is listed at 228.
Yeah, that's what he weighed last year. He came in at 260.
260.
That means he spent the entire offseason at the Golden Corral.
I feel like you would have to make a conscious effort to gain 30 pounds in an offseason.
Oh, yeah, and got ahead to Delvin Cook. He's hurt already.
Yeah, I saw it today. I'm like, is it any? Oh, so the sun came up. Delvin Cook's hurt again?
Yep.
I can't remember what the injury was.
Leg. Pretty sure of it.
Delvin Cook, the hand and finger issues. They must be talking about Madison. I'm looking for like an article now.
James Burgess. By the way, I hit one camp so far, and I am certain that I can be Chase Lucas is already rostered. He was repping with every special teams unit.
Hand.
Delvin's sex life is over for a while, he says.
Delvin Cook was just escorted off the field during individual drills. His left hand was being held gingerly by a trainer walking alongside.
Oh, Richard Head says, how the F do you gain 40 pounds in half an offseason? Keep in mind, Tampa went deep into the playoffs. He's not wrong.
No, they didn't. They lost in the first round, the second round.
Second round.
They won a game and then got escorted out.
Remember
by Stafford.
They escorted Philly right out the building.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it Arizona? One of the two.
I think
Charles McLean says, hello, JB. Sorry I am late, but one pride. That being said, like I said, the offense is just as explosive as everybody considered it would be, which is great. Seeing how Jamison Williams hasn't even been able to do anything yet because he's still rehabbing. Not sure if my name is showing up. Yeah, Eric, it shows up. And I know who you are. You're Eric Sean, because Dalton is your last name. Sean must be your middle name, as I'm guessing, or it's the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone thought there was even a chance that JMO would be ready for the start of the season.
Well, they said he may be ready by week 1. That was his doctors that's been doing the rehab with him the whole time. But week 1 of the regular season, not the preseason, not of training camp.
Right.
I'm more concerned on how well they ...
They who?
I know.
Delvin Cook.
Garrett Dalton says, ironically, it's Shark Week. Love it.
I haven't heard a lot about him so far. as far as any of like the training camp notes.
Do you know what the injury was? Because I haven't seen what it was there. Cephas will be out a couple of weeks. I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think the way he was playing, he's going to be in. And I was right. It's Eric Sean Dalton. And Facebook user says, "How's your linebackers doing?" It's believe it or not, they're saying good things about him, but I don't know. I can't wait till Saturday till I go to practice to watch.
Darcy was there, and he said they were sucky.
Darcy tends to be overcritical at times too, because you are talking about training camp.
True. I mean, any positive that anyone could notice or that we could take away from the linebackers is good, because I mean, I think we all agree that it's our weakest position group.
Right. I want to see how they do when I'm there and they're playing in pads.
I'll be right back.
No problem. I'm wondering how well the offensive line is going to run the ball, especially with that extra running back. There we go.
I think it's just one of those scenarios, and again, something I think we would all agree on. Like, the less we see of people like Alex Anzalone,
Sean Dion Hamilton,
right?
The less we see of the guys that should be backups, that's the better off we are.
I haven't heard anything yet, good or bad, about Derek Barnes, because we all kind of thought, and this was, it was a lot of it was based on what Anzalone said early in the year, that he was kind of, grooming him to be his eventual replacement. But Barnes kind of had an up and down year. Like, he looked good at times, and other times it's like, whoa, you can tell.
Well, look who he's being groomed by. No, look who he's being groomed by. Somebody that was an up and down player. As much as I hate to say it.
True. Well, that's my thing, though. Like, how much do we really want him to learn from Alex Anzalone? That's how I felt about when we drafted Riley Reif, and then Backus stuck around for one more year.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, if Reif doesn't go into camp and just look Backus square in the eye and be like, "Don't talk to me, Jeff."
And Charles Davis says, "Think Davis is a cut, but Dion Hamilton has improved the most." MCD he actually spoke highly of Davis.
Oh, is he talking about Jared? No way, Jared Davis is getting cut.
He spoke very highly of Davis in that same speech you're talking about. The speech that I want to talk about, which addresses Richard Head's problem. But Taylor Decker came out and he says, well, the one thing that I've noticed is our job is a lot easier as blockers because Jared Goff has taken full control and leadership of the thing on how he reads the defense. He's calling out the specialty blocks, who to double team, and everything out correctly, which makes their job easier. So that being said, it should be the same thing in the run game. If you notice who's the guy blitzing, double that guy.
And that's the thing. Like, Jared Goff, for his, above average abilities, like, he's a smart dude. He's pretty good pre-snap. He's spectacular in play action. He doesn't have a great arm, but it's a good arm. He can't help the fact that he has small hands.
Well, Richard Head, but Chris Board was supposed to be a starter for the Ravens this year. They wanted to re-sign him to move him to a starter. He chose to come to
Board is
Lions for less, and he's actually starting next to Anzalone right now.
Board is the one that I'm interested in. I also read today that Kenneth Walker took less money to stay.
I can't wait till Rodriguez comes along enough to take Anzalone's spot. That's all I got to say.
Or Barnes.
Either way, I don't care. Somebody needs to take his spot.
Amen.
And Coach Campbell says Alex is playing well, calling the defense plays, and tackling better. Fantastic. I don't want him as a starter.
Right. Better would imply good. I'm sure he wasn't going to say less terrible, but I mean, the simple fact is when you're like, and I mean, really, it doesn't particularly have anything to do with race per se, but sad fact is, if you're white, you have to be a good tackler as a linebacker. Just like if you're white and a wide receiver, you have to be a good route runner and have good hands.
And the best hands you've ever seen.
Like Ed McCaffrey. That guy wasn't fast.
Wes Welker.
The only fast wide receiver that was white that I can think of, other than Anthony Schwartz, and we've barely seen him, was Tim Dwight. And that guy was also, he wasn't a full-time wide receiver, and he was also a track star.
Charles McLean, how much trouble is Raymond in with Pimpleton and the wide receiver we signed as a returner? He wasn't signed as a returner. He was signed as a UDFA with a chance to earn the spot to be returner. There's a big difference there. More than likely, I think Pimpleton may make the roster if Cephas.
Yeah, if he ends up being out for
If
a minute.
he ends up being out for a minute, I think Pimpleton will make the roster and the return duties will be split. And I pray to God they put Pimpleton at punt returns and Raymond at kick. I have my reasons for that, and Dom knows them all.
Or
And Richard Head says, I'll believe Alex Annalise can tackle when I see it.
Amen. I think they could easily put Pimpleton on the practice squad and keep Raymond, and then literally just wait a few weeks to where they see something where they're like, okay, and then just cut Khalif Raymond.
Either way, I don't care if he's there.
Because for fuck's sake.
I was hoping he was one of the first cuts we'd lose, actually, last year. I told you that.
Right. I mean, they only even signed him because we were decimated at wide receiver.
Right. I mean, because at that point, they had already cut. When we signed Raymond, it was just before the season started. We had just cut Perriman. We brought him in for kick returns. And somebody else went down, one of the other guys that was at the bottom. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where he would have been one wide receiver or 5 or 6 and hardly ever on the field.
Right. Same with Kadarrell Hodge.
And then Kadarrell Hodge was signed after Cephas went down.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be his replacement, just to fill the void.
Yeah, just so we had, 5 active wide receivers.
That being said, that's pretty much all the topics. So it's time for me to pay the bills. Talk about my sponsors. Mad Lab Custom Creations. That's Dan Leonard's little group. Look them up on Facebook. They do breaks for signed memorabilia such as mini helmets, jerseys, whatever. But also, he does custom helmet painting. Contact him for all your needs. And A1 Tire and Auto Repair. 3 locations to serve you. There's the one in Old Kilcullen, the one in Saginaw, and the one on Broadway here in Bay City where I work. And we got a few comments that came in while I was doing the little commercial ad. Hey, JB, that sounds like Quinn. And Charles McLean, how long does Williams have to stay on NFI lists and do preseason games count? If once the preseason starts, that's when somebody can be put on the PUP list, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's put on the physically unable to play list at that time, it's 4 weeks. Is the least it could be.
Yeah, it used to be 6. Yeah,
it used to be 6, but now it's 4 to 6. And then there's just like if you were put on the injured reserve where you could come back, that was a minimum of 8 weeks. Now that's a minimum of 6.
4 games, that would put us into late September. If he can
Not
come
really.
back, if he can come back in October at any point, that'd be great.
But if they put him on the PUP list, right, like if they don't put him on the IR, which is the 6-week minimum. And Facebook user says, hey, JB, hey, Dom, hey, Facebook user.
Actually, week 4 already gets us into October.
Yeah. So if he's on the PUP list, he could come back. If he's put on the PUP list at the first week of preseason, he could come back as early as week 1. And he says it's Quinn. Nice to see you, Quinn. I've already heard from Brendan. Great to see all you guys on here.
No reason whatsoever to rush him back.
You're right.
Exactly.
There's no reason to rush Williams back. Let him take as much time as he needs. I'm not saying to rush him at all. At all. I'm just saying if they put him on the PUP list at week 1 of the preseason, he's actually available on week 1 of the regular season. Then they have to decide, because I think you have to be on the active roster for a week or two before you go back on a PUP list. If I remember right, there's some sort of clause in there. Congrats on the news, JB. Thank you. I can't wait to be working with Let's Talk Sports, getting this on there, getting it out. I'm glad that I got it to where I've cleaned up my act a little bit. I had to stop dropping the F-bombs. I mean, if I want to be on an Amazon and a Roku channel, I probably shouldn't be cussing like that.
Yeah, I can't cuss on any of the sideline shows either, other than the sip off, but they're not technically affiliated.
The NFI is for non-football injury during the preseason camps and off-season stuff. That's all that list is for. It's because they didn't get hurt due to an NFL injury. He got hurt from a college injury.
You know, I swear when Chris Sims makes his ranking lists, he's either just off the wall or he wants people to talk. Like his top 5 wide receivers, it's Jamar Chase, Debo, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp.
No Devontae Adams?
Right. You got
No
Debo.
D-Hop? Well, D-Hop's missing 6 games, so I would probably put him into that 6 to 10 range this year because he can't play for 6 games. That's just me.
I could see that being the rationale, but I'm not quite ready to call Jamar Chase the best receiver in the NFL.
I would have said he's probably 3rd or 4th, maybe.
Right.
And I'd have to have Justin Jefferson still up there with him because he's producing still.
Right.
Other than that,
I have mixed feelings about Cooper Kupp.
And Quinn says, I got a Roku TV, JB, so that's awesome. That being said, that's pretty much it for all the roundtable talk. You guys got any more questions? I don't mind talking Lions. I tried to make this more of an NFL base because I'm trying to broaden my market, get more subscribers, and it's working. I am currently at 132 subscribers, so please go over to YouTube, subscribe, like, and share because I'm trying to get to 1,000. I'm waiting for the Julio Jones comeback of the year since he's with Brady. Yeah, the sports troll already started trolling him today. And walking onto the field, Julio Jones suffered a hamstring injury and will be out for the season, is what he posted. I said, if you guys think that's real news, you guys are so sadly mistaken.
Julio's just ring chasing. Where are you at, JB? Who's this female that keeps walking behind you?
I am at a friend's house. I'll explain that in a minute. But Troy is killing it in camp. Found out Tyler Lockett's brother just committed to Kansas State. Oh, that's cool. Charles McLean, I would put it Adams, Jefferson's, Debo, D-Hop, and Kupp. I mean, I could see where you could say that. I would put it more like Adams, Kupp, D-Hop, Debo. And then it's whether you want to put Jefferson or Chase at 5, in my opinion.
I don't know that I have Debo in the top 5 already. Like, yeah, he had a great year, and you add to that, the rushing yards, but I got to see more. Like, he got paid like a top 5 guy, but I don't know that I'm ready to put him in that category.
He is a wide receiver 1/weapon. So you kind of have to do that because otherwise you're going to be paying 2 positions that kind of money combined.
True.
And who would you rather have? It be Debo or, God, who they got? Elijah Mitchell now because Mouseshirt's gone. Yeah, it's Elijah Mitchell now.
Yeah.
And Elijah Mitchell did good, but he didn't do great. He did okay. He had a good year.
Right.
I mean, from scrimmage, he had about an average year like DeAndre Swift. Both of them had 1,000 yards from scrimmage when you add in their receiving yards.
Trey Sermon.
But I'm glad Troy is doing well for the Falcons. I don't think that's going to get them out of the basement this year.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Falcons. Like, how long does Mariota stay healthy? What does Desmond Ritter look like once they put him in there? Like, if I was Atlanta, I wouldn't be so quick
I
to.
I don't know if they will there, Charles McLean. Do you think the Lions sign any more big men for the D line? Not without making cuts first.
Right.
That's my opinion on it. Tyler Lockett's brother is Sterling Lockett, by the way, JB. Thank you for the information. I'll look him up.
Tyler Lockett went to K State as well, didn't he?
I believe so. I don't want to. That's something I'd have to look up because he's not somebody I followed.
Right.
But I'm quite sure Quinn did, so he's probably going to let us know shortly.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. I forgot they're the Kansas connection.
Yep. Yes, Tyler went to K State too. So he's basically getting in under the legend.
Yeah,
Who is all injured on the Lions defense? I haven't heard anybody. Have you heard anybody injured on the defense? I think that cornerback that retired, who was that? God, he was the one that had like a minor injury in the rookie camp, and the next day he retired.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard
That
anything
was
about
it.
any. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about any injuries on defense.
And he says the whole Lockett family went to K-State. So, yeah, he's a legacy add-on. He would get accepted there automatically. But the fact that he plays football, that's going to get him in faster.
Justin Jackson. Blah, blah,
Kind of like
blah.
Hutchinson and his family.
Yeah.
He was kind of a lock to end up at Michigan.
Ugh.
Yep, just the guy from Kentucky is the only one I've heard about being injured, but he was injured when they drafted him and he had surgery right after the draft. So he's supposed to be ready by the season. I hope so. I hope he doesn't start out on the PUP list because we're going to need him. Because I think that would help us out tremendously against the Eagles in week 1.
Oh, I guess McNeil got hurt, but it wasn't even like for a whole practice.
Okay.
It's from yesterday. Like
Oh,
he got
okay.
hurt and then was back in before the day was over, so he's fine.
Well, then it was probably just a stinger or a cramp or something like that.
Right.
Just like in a game, you get a stinger, go out for a couple series and come back in.
Yep.
And he says that Sterling is a 5-star recruit. Yep. So Pascal's supposed to be healthy. James Mitchell is already back healthy because he's actually playing. I guess Mitchell and Deese did pretty good the first couple days of camp, which is good because that means that's good for the competitiveness of the tight end 2 and 3 positions. Oh, Funchess was hurt. That's what it was. Go figure. When you don't play for 2 years and you're coming back and your first getting in the pads, you're going to get hurt. Yes, I did. I thought that was great. Aiden versus Sewell, the video.
Yeah, I could see the two
He
of them
got the
getting.
best of them. He got the best of them with an inside swim move. Chance of Romeo making this roster? It's very good because the dead cap would kill any cap room we have. He's making the roster. It's just whether or not he's going to be on the injured reserve or the PUP list to start the season because he still isn't healthy. Because we just re-signed him last year.
I can't even remember what his injury was.
Mitchell is looking like a bargain. Okay, only one day, but he looks full tilt. Thank you, James. And Facebook user Quinn says it's hot. JB was 103 with the humidity. Yeah, it was like that around here too. At one point here in Michigan. It was an ACL injury.
That's right.
Yep. ACL for who? For Romeo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is an ACL, but I don't think they can afford to get rid of him this year. I think next year is where the cap clears where we can afford to cut him. So he'll be on the roster this year, unless somebody offers us some ungodly trade for him after he's healthy.
Right. I don't know that we can afford to lose him, even when he does come back healthy.
Sirens went off as soon as we got to our new house, scared the out of me, but they were just checking them. Yeah, the first of the month, every emergency siren is tested. In Michigan, it's the first Saturday of the month
Right.
at noon.
Yep.
So this Saturday, I expect to hear it. Oh wait, no, I won't. I'll be in Detroit
Yeah, there was some hella storms up here
all
earlier.
day. Oh yeah. He says, I thought we were getting a tornado.
It was looking that way because it was
I'm
so
still
hot.
trying to understand the Lions' love affair with Tim Boyle. Me too.
It's like it's a cheaper to keeper scenario. I mean, it wouldn't be a huge cap hit, but if
The running
absolutely
back,
nothing. Go ahead.
the running back that was signed, I seen most saying he's a Jefferson replacement. Was hoping it was Godwin. It should be Godwin.
Oh, they're talking about Justin Jackson.
Justin, yeah, I think he'll be competing for the RB3, but Jefferson won't be cut because he's a rookie. I mean, that makes no sense. No, I don't. I have HBO Max already on my TV. I will be watching it next Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought it already started. It's not till Tuesday.
Yeah, August 9th, right? 10 p.m.
Yep.
That's so right around the premiere time is when it's going to be able to be streamed. I'll be watching it.
Yeah, I'm reading something about Jackson now. They seem to think he'll probably make the roster as like a one, two, three, fourth or fifth running back.
Oh yeah, I'm not streaming it. So yeah, you'd have to get your HBO Max, buddy. Because that'd be copyright infringement. Jefferson's second year, he is still eligible for practice squad, more than likely, and they probably will keep him. They'll probably protect him because he actually did decent in a couple of games he came in. He just didn't look healthy.
Right. And it's hard to tell with running backs anyways, because it's like, you bring them in cold off the bench. Like, it's running back's a rhythm thing. Like, you got to get carries and get into the flow of the game. They never seem to figure that out with Zach Zenner when they would bring him in on, in a goal line situation for his first carry, and then he fumbles and everyone wonders why.
Right. They don't love him, Boyle, but if 8 is our ceiling, we can wait till next year to get Rush, Rosen, McCoy, Foles, etc. A good team that wants a Super Bowl needs a better backup QB than we have. Nobody's saying we don't need a better backup QB. I've been saying it for months. I was hoping that Boyle and Blau were both gone, and we'd have took a UDFA or a fourth rounder after quarterback. The guy I wanted is still able to be picked up right now because he's in the offseason for the USFL that was a UDFA. Eric Barriere, bring his ass in.
I thought someone picked him up.
They did, and that he was cut.
Oh.
The Broncos picked him up, and he was cut, and he went to the Michigan Panthers.
Oh, that's right.
And he got them their second win of the season.
Yeah, you'd think that sort of local exposure, albeit it's in Alabama, like someone would clue into that. I mean, shit, bring him in for camp. He's got to be able to beat out one of those guys.
Plus one, Jeremy. I mean, we brought in Connor Sampson, then we brought in some other guy I never heard of for rookie tryouts with the rookie camp.
Right.
I want to see the Lions have enough quality running backs to run a different court back out every quarter to keep the other defense tired. I think with our O-line, our starting two might be able to do that on their own.
I said it the other day. If I'm Ben Johnson, I'm starting the first offensive series of the year with 16 straight runs. Try and stop it. Swift's tired, bring in Williams. Williams gets tired, bring in Reynolds. Reynolds is tired, bring in Justin Jackson.
And Quinn says he would beat out both of them, Dom. Our backups are hot dog poop. My newborn son could do better, just saying. I could do better at 51, probably.
That's facts. And we'd all be on rookie deals, so we'd cost less.
Right. UDFA, give me $150,000 to ride the pine, and then put me in one game. I'd be happy just to have my name on a roster.
Right.
And get an actual, authentic Lions jersey with my number on it.
Oh, yeah.
Is Pascal going to play in the preseason? It's not looking like it. Quinn says, shoot, JB, we could do better being blind and no legs. Anytime your interception rate is twice what your touchdown rate is, I don't care that you're not a good backup quarterback. Charles McLean says, I think Stevie Wonder could win a game as QB2 for the Lions. That being said,
I think they think that backup quarterback is not a high priority, and I kind of tend to agree. Like, and I say this for all NFL teams, you know, defending Super Bowl champs. Like, who's the Rams' backup quarterback?
John Wolford.
Okay. Yeah, is he appreciably better than Tim Boyle or David Blau? Maybe a little.
That being said, I got something to say about out of Patriots camp. Today in the passing drills, Mac Jones went 5 out of 10. Bailey Zappi, the guy they drafted later, went 9 for 13.
I like Zappi.
You remember I said that during the draft, Bailey Zappi going to the Patriots may push Mac Jones for the starter job.
I mean, I'm no Mac Jones backer. Like, you know, he's in a system that's friendly for him, and he's being led by arguably the greatest head coach of all time, but he's not. I mean,
and Quinn
Mac
says,
Jones.
Ashley said, "No Lions game for me unless I make her dinners." Well, get cooking, bitch.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Sometimes you got to give to get.
And yes, that is one of the names that you can hear on regular TV on daytime soap opera. So that word is okay on Roku and Amazon.
Oh, bitch.
Yep. This is true.
Yep.
Ass is set on TV now. Shit. Damn. Just kidding, JV. Love you, bud. As a coach, I know the importance of a QBT. It's not the highest priority, but you want a quality backup. Absolutely. We're not saying that. And James Burgess said, I wanted Zappi as Goff's backup all draft. He can run the same stuff as Goff, and that's a plus for your primary backup. Sorry if this has been discussed already. Any news on the Cephas and Pascal injuries? Pascal has had a sports hernia that he had operated one right after the whole draft time was done. And that's why he didn't sign right away. He had that surgery. It's a 12 to 15 week healing process, which puts him at the last week of preseason at the earliest he could come back.
Sports hernias are tricky too. Like it's
9 times out of 10, that's that injury that's listed as a groin injury. And you see a guy miss half a season and you don't know why. That's what it is.
Yeah, you can't rush back from that, and if you do, you'll re-hernia yourself.
Yep.
Because my buddy did it golfing, because they told
I,
him 12 weeks, and he tried to golf after 11 weeks, and then he had to go get it fixed.
and Charles McLean says Jones is suffering from the curse of Patricia. Yes. And Facebook user says thanks. Cephas is only going to be out 1 to 2 weeks with that lower leg injury. It doesn't say what it is yet, but I've already heard it's like only 2 weeks. So he'll be fine. He'll be ready for the preseason game, it looks like.
Yep.
And he'll be playing for his job.
Yeah, somehow.
The 7 words you can't say on TV, according to George Carlin. Yeah, that's usually what it is, but that has been changed and lowered to like 3 out of those 7 that he originally said can't be said on TV.
It's crazy how far we've come with, coarse language on TV, but everything else has gone backwards. For as sensitive as the whole world is now, it's like the things you can get away with saying. It's like there's more, generally there's way more buzzwords. So I guess now, like the ones that used to be, like they've lightened up on, now it's all these other things that you can't say.
I didn't see anything about a high ankle sprain. I just saw it was a leg injury,
Yeah,
and he
they
was
just said
helped off
leg.
the field.
High ankle, that would not be good.
And that's amazing that someone as talented as Cephas will be fighting for his job. It's amazing how far we've come at the wide receiver position in 1 year. Absolutely. I mean, the DJ Shark signing, Reynolds being re-signed, that was huge. Look at what happened once the play calling changed. And everybody says, but Goff didn't look good till after that. No, if you think about it, Reynolds didn't even play till 3 weeks after the play calling changed.
Right.
Was he a part of the reason why we beat mini Arizona and Green Bay? Yes. But was he the reason we beat them? No, it was the play calling 100%. Because we already started running the ball better immediately after the play calling change. It's why we tied Pittsburgh. James Burgess says, I still owe George Carlin Class Clown album on vinyl. I am really struggling not to post profanity. I understand that.
I
That
mean, you can kind of get away with cussing in the comments, but it's better that we try to hold everyone to the same standard.
Big Dan Davis, late to the party. Any word on exactly what the injury is? One person said high ankle sprain, but I haven't seen anything listed on the Lions website. I checked it before the show. So that being said, it's still just considered a lower
says
leg injury.
leg. I just saw something that said, like, not major.
He never understood why you couldn't say tits on TV. I mean, that's a nickname. Tits meet toots. Toots meet tits. I love you, Dad. And I love Carlin. I mean, Class Clown was the first album I listened to because my dad had it.
Well, Lions Wire says apparent knee injury.
But the Lions Wire says now a knee injury, so it's not the ankle. Censorship from a company that gets taxpayer money and subsidies. Makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of backwards, but that's, the whole world nowadays.
And James Burgess comes in. I heard a certain prior album from 1976. Enough said, LOL. All that aside, our wide receiver will be fine. Also, tater tits. Yep. God, I love my viewers. I have fun with you guys. Well, this has been Kneecap Biting with Smokin Jeremy V. I had a Texans fan by the name of Mitchell Sledge in here, and Dom came in. I mean, he gave all of his thoughts on the topics, and when I had to rehash them all with you, he was like, okay, I'm done. I'm tired. I get it. I love talking to you guys. Thanks again. Like I said, Big Dan Davis. The definition of a tit is actually a small type of bird. I've looked this up before. Yes, it's actually short for tit willow. Does Levi Onwuzurike have a breakout year? I think he will. He came into camp jacked. He's looking healthy. The whole D-line's looking good right now. Facebook users, a good show tonight. Jeremy, go Lions. Pryor was the best. The wino meets the junkie. I know it by heart. Yep. Pryor was great. My personal favorite was still live at the Sunset Strip, where he talked about going to Africa.
Richard Pryor's great. Also, Red Fox.
Yes, Red Fox, Richard Pryor. I mean, and Bill Cosby prior to Roofies.
Yeah, that's unfortunate about old Bill.
Yeah. Ken Ballrick +1, my man, James Burgess said. Good show tonight, Jeremy. I'll try to make the next one as well. It'll be Friday night at 8. It is my Lions Man Cave chat. And Richard Head, kneecap biting at smokingjeremyb@gmail.com. Shoot me a line if you want to be a guest on the show. I'd love to have you on. Red Fox, you just moved up. The wino meets Dracula. Yeah, that was a good one, too. I don't drink wine. Oh, shit. I do now. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night. And thanks for watching Kneecap Biting with Smokin' Jeremy B. And thanks to Dom for being the great guest he is from Sideline Sports. Check out his channel on YouTube as well.